Hey everyone, and welcome to Fourth and Long, episode 5, Drafting a Quarterback. In this episode, we've actually switched over to Zoom from OBS. Everything's been working a lot smoother with Zoom, so we're going to continue to use that until I get myself a better PC. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you enjoy. Hi guys, and welcome to episode 5 of Fourth and Long. We are discussing today the draft prospects for quarterbacks. I'm Chris, and I'm here with Zach.
What's going on, everybody? Episode 5.
Yeah. Let's see
Using
if I
a
can
different platform this time. Seems like it's might be working better.
This is actually working for once.
I feel like it's a little bit more optimized. So let's cross them.
Yeah, so we normally we're using OBS Ninja. Today we are using Zoom. So far everything's been working pretty well. I tried using OBS Ninja just so you can get more like transitional things. I'm still learning it all. Hey Jeff, thank you. Yeah, everything's working real smooth so far. So
it's all a learning process.
Everything looks pretty clear, honestly. So let's get into the meat of this. So there's been some not a lot of free agency signings. There's been very few free agency signings this week. There's been a few top stories, one very, very big story. So we're going to get into
it.
Yes. So for top stories right now, we have the Chargers look like they're for sale. So they just moved to
LA
from San Diego, and now they're already for sale. I'm not sure exactly what the deal is with that.
I almost feel like the people who own the Rams should probably just buy them, and then they can just own both LA teams.
Yeah, like it's pretty crazy. Like
it's strange that you're going to literally move your entire team, not just to a new city, but to a completely different state across the country. Oh no, wait, no, I'm thinking of when they were in St. Louis. You know what I mean? Like you're essentially. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking also the Rams. See, I'm losing my mind. Both LA teams confuse me. So you got the Chargers, who they moved, from San Diego to LA.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, and they share the stadium now with the Rams. And right when you move them into the stadium, they play one season in the stadium, and now they're up for sale. So either the team owners don't feel like they can. I'm wondering, do they feel like maybe they can't provide the necessities that the team needs, or maybe they just don't. I don't know. Maybe they're just done with owning a football team. Who knows? It's a strange thing that I saw that, and I was kind of confused when I saw that I got a notification yesterday. I was like, they're up for sale. I said, why?
Yeah, it's really beyond me. I can't even begin to understand why.
I could see if somebody was to just be buying a majority stake in a football team, as essentially as LeBron just did with the Red Sox, and he already has a big chunk of Liverpool and stuff like that. But to flat out be like, hey, we're putting our team up for sale. It's like it feels a little bit different. It's not like somebody's just trying to purchase a large portion of it. It's like they don't want to have the team anymore. So it's like maybe they're just doing it for themselves, a personal reason or anything. Other than that, it's just a very strange. It's strange to see that.
Yeah, but we'll see. I guess there is something with sales or something, and not enough people are buying merchandise or something. But I don't know. Maybe I have no idea what they're even thinking.
It is the Chargers, so I mean they have had unbelievably low ticket sales the last several years. They did
Yeah.
play in an extremely small capacity stadium. I commend the diehard Chargers fans. There's not a ton of them out there that you see, but I commend them. They stick by their team no matter what. So it could be just sales in general, but it is, as I said, it was just kind of shocking to see like, oh, the Chargers may be up for sale, and I kind of took a pause for a second and was like, oh, okay, so that's news now. But we'll see what happens with that. Who knows if they'll sell within the next week?
Yeah. No,
Maybe
absolutely.
we'll have something next to talk about next week.
Yeah, possibly. Our next top story is the Falcons. They have been making calls and receiving calls about trading back. I guess they don't really care too much about the 4th overall spot. It's very interesting because it seems like they're trying to move on from Matt Ryan, but maybe the quarterback that they want is not going to be available. And so right now, and we'll get into this later, but the top 3 quarterbacks right now that are projected to go in this order are Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and then Mac Jones. So those 3 are expected to go 1, 2, 3. So maybe that's why they are looking to trade back.
I don't know. That's so weird to me that they want to trade back at number 4, especially because number 4 you can essentially get just about virtually anyone you want.
Yeah.
Except for Trevor Lawrence, because
if
I'm saying right now, if the Jaguars don't pick him up, I'm gonna lose my mind. But
if it's me, I'm Atlanta, that the top 3 spots are going to be quarterback. I would get Penei Sewell.
You can get him. You can get another quarterback. You can get Justin Fields for all we know. You know what I mean? You can get
Justin Fields is a great quarterback.
So there's so many things, but I mean, maybe they feel like they could trade the 4 spot to somebody for a lower spot and then a later round.
Trying to get more draft capital, honestly.
They probably, and to be honest with you, it's the 4th overall pick. They definitely could do that. I mean, just look what the Dolphins were able to do, everything like that.
Yeah.
So we'll see who trades back. I'm actually excited to see during the draft who we see, when you got the countdown, like, oh, they're on the clock. And then all of a sudden you get that little chime comes up and then you see like trade. And then you just see like another team's logo pop up. I'm waiting. I'm just so excited to see who trades, when they trade and everything like that. I love watching that in the draft.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they're going to go through with it.
And we definitely know now that the Jets are definitely taking a quarterback and with the 2nd pick overall, as they have just traded the other day, Sam Darnold to the Panthers.
Yes, that was one. You messaged me right when I saw it too.
Oh yeah, I got the Boots report notice, and I was just
I got that.
Holy shit!
But right before I got that, I got a notification in my group chat, and we're all sports fans in my group chat. 2 of them are Panthers fans, and I thought to myself, it was even funnier because there was a guy next to me in the back room in the store I was in, and when I said it out loud, he's a Jets fan. So I was like, Sam Darnold's I said, the Jets trade Sam Darnold to the Panthers, and he stood up and went, what? And I was just like, yup. And he goes, yes. And I'm like, dude, what do you mean, yes? You didn't need to get rid of Sam Darnold. At first, I was extremely confused, and I was actually angry for Panthers fans. I had stated it multiple times that I'm angry for Panthers fans. Like, you literally go from Cam Newton, you have Teddy Bridgewater, who didn't do what the Panthers fans wanted. He had a decent season, but he didn't have a breakout, he didn't do what he did previously.
Here's my take on part of this, right? So you had Teddy Bridgewater, right? And you you had a pretty decent run game. There was great I want to say maybe like C+ to B- wide receiver core. And I feel like he should have done more. I really do feel like he should have done more.
Maybe he should have.
Maybe he could have done more if Christian McCaffrey stayed healthy.
That was you know what? I really honestly believe that hurt his productivity because when he was with the Saints, he had Kamara.
Because Mike Davis really performed like super strong.
But I feel like having just that one bet, because like you look what he did in when he was in Minnesota, he was, lights out. Not lights out, he was good. When he took over for Drew Brees, those 5 games the previous season, he won all 5 of them. Granted, you had another quarterback, you had Taysom Hill, who was also like kind of an audible character who would just be anywhere you need him to be. You had Kamara. Yep. So, I mean, maybe he just didn't fit the Panthers scheme as well, especially not having Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
But he didn't do what they wanted him to do.
And Mike Davis went to the Falcons, which we said before was a great pickup for them. But at the same time, I feel like the Jets did okay with the picks that they got. They now, between this season and next season, they have 21 picks overall, and 7 of those picks are in the first 2 rounds of this year.
Yeah, because they got a, second rounder this year.
Yep.
And a 4th and a 6th rounder next year, which is,
I believe so.
Which is pretty good. I at first glance, I said I feel good. I said I feel the Jets got the better end of the deal at first when I was kind of going over it in my head. I said because they get 3 draft picks, 1 this year in the 2nd round, and this is a pretty deep draft like for prospects. So 2nd round is definitely good. But they don't have like any quarterbacks right now. They have like, who do they have on their roster for quarterbacks?
Nobody.
Exactly. They don't have any. So they have to pick a quarterback up. They're probably going to sign any free agent QB throughout the rest of the offseason. But then I thought about it and I said, listen, the Panthers went from Teddy didn't really do much. Now they have this other guy who hasn't really done much. But I also don't really attribute – I've said it for the last 2 years. Sam Darnold's got a ton of talent. He just doesn't have the team around him. He doesn't have the team around him to show it.
There was one comment I liked, and it doesn't matter if Sam Darnold, what Sam Darnold did last year. No single person could have saved the dumpster fire that is the Jets.
Honestly, that's pretty true, except for the new coach that they have, which I'm actually excited to see what he does. But, just you see.
Hey, Joe. So Alex Smith has now, I believe, he's either going to go to the Jets or he's going to go to the Texans. They just released an article with him having met with the Texans, and through the whole situation right now that is Deshaun Watson, which we won't get into. It is
to get into that.
Pretty strong possibility that he goes to either one of those, but at the same time,
the Jets are going to pick him up. He'd be a solid backup or starter, depending on if there's going to be a QB competition at all.
If I'm Alex Smith, though, where am I going to go? I'm going to go somewhere where they have a pretty solid offensive line because,
you want to protect that leg.
Yeah, he's got to protect that leg.
He really does. He could go. He's talented. He could really go a variety of places. He really showed that he's more capable than just being. He doesn't have to be babied, really. He could take a couple of hits. There was a couple of hits that he took in Washington last year. I was just like, ooh, but he got up and he just kept going. It was, whatever. He's ready for it.
In retrospect, I think Carolina got the better end of the deal.
You see, that's when I went back to it. I said initially the Jets got the better end of the deal because they got rid of a quarterback who didn't really do much. But then that's when I thought about it. I said they didn't help him. That they needed to help him, and they did not help him.
So
they didn't utilize him properly, is what I'll say.
So here's my thing on the Jets. The Jets they didn't get rid of a bad quarterback. They didn't. No. If I were to grade Sam Darnold, I'd give him a B-. Maybe a B.
Effort.
Yeah, maybe a B based on the effort that he gives. But at the same time, the Jets need people So they got draft picks, right? So now they have picks to help if they decide to draft Mac Jones or whomever, Zach Wilson, if they decide to pick up Zach Wilson. So now they have more picks. Now they have more draft capital to try and help secure him. And, I think that this was the best move they could have done. And then Sam Darnold now goes to the Panthers. He has Robbie Anderson. He already has chemistry with Robbie Anderson because Robbie Anderson.
Yes, that was why I had originally, when I went back and thought about it, I said the Panthers got a really good deal with that because that was his number one for a while. That was his number one, was Robbie Anderson. My first ever Packers game was against the Jets, and that was the number one right there, Robbie Anderson. I was like, don't let him catch the ball, but he's got him, and he has a solid running back, the best running back in the game right now, Christian McCaffrey. When that man is healthy, watch out.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And Sam Darnold can move around. We've seen him do it. He can move. He can make really unbelievable throws.
I think the Panthers have a pretty solid offensive line too.
They do.
It's not like, obviously it's nowhere near.
It could be worse.
It could be the Jets.
It could be the Jets offensive line. It could be the Bengals offense. It could be a variety of them. They have a pretty average offensive line. They were able to protect the quarterback a decent amount of the time. It also helps when your quarterback can be mobile. They have Teddy, who's been able to be mobile when he needs to be.
So speaking of Teddy, the Jets also win because now, the Panthers also win because now Teddy Bridgewater is there. They are letting him seek a trade. So now they can get draft capital back. And they can get draft capital back
or any other player position that they need.
Yeah, exactly. Like they could get another wide receiver that they probably need because.
But at the same time, you don't know if they're going to get. You don't know if they're going to even anybody's going to want to trade for him. That's the thing. What if nobody wants Teddy? You know what I mean? What if, because they're giving him kind of the ultimate say of like, I want to get traded to that team. But what if that team doesn't want to trade? You know what I mean? Like. So it's kind of up in the air. Right now they have three pretty average, right in the center of the pack quarterbacks on their team. They have PJ Walker, who did unbelievable things in the XFL, the inaugural season. You have Teddy Bridgewater, who has in my opinion, Teddy Bridgewater has a very high ceiling. This past year, he didn't play to that, but he has a lot of potential. And now you have Sam Darnold, who also has a very high ceiling. We haven't seen that. We've seen flashes of it from all three quarterbacks.
This is the Carolina Panthers quarterback depth chart. So I'm assuming Sam Darnold will be QB number 1, Teddy Bridgewater number 2. They have PJ Walker number 3, Will Grier number 4.
I forgot about him.
Tommy Stevens at number 5.
They have too many quarterbacks.
They do.
Greer.
Wide receivers right now.
Yeah.
They have DJ Moore. They have Robbie Anderson, and they have Ventel Bryant.
Yep. Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore could be a pretty dangerous combo if they get going.
So if I'm the Panthers, what pick do the Panthers have?
They have, I want to say, 8th or 9th overall.
See, if I'm the Carolina Panthers and I have the 8th or 9th pick overall, I'm going for a wide receiver.
Yeah, you want to go depth on a different position, a skill position. I know a lot of people.
They have the number 8th pick overall.
I know a lot of Panthers fans wanted to get Justin Fields. That was one of the guys that a lot of the fans want. But now you have 3 main quarterbacks on your team that, and then you got your practice squad with Will Grier and the other guy that you mentioned. So it's like you don't need a quarterback now,
with the new updated trade. They now Carolina Panthers are being seen taking Rashawn Slater, Northwestern offensive tackle. I don't know how well I trust that mock draft. I don't like it.
Yeah, mock drafts are very difficult.
Well, I don't like that one because they have the Cowboys not taking Patrick Surtain.
Do you want to know something really funny?
They have them taking an edge.
One of my Panthers fans' friends in my group chat, we'll say Jamie.
Bruno, I'm not sure what you're smoking, but Tom Brady is not being moved to the Packers next year. And
he's just trolling.
I don't think you can guarantee that.
That'll never happen. And if it does, I'm not watching football. So, but it was funny because my friend Jamie, she's a Panthers fan, diehard. She said, now with them pretty much not going QB in the draft, they have the ability to get Surtain.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my other friends in the draft, who's a Cowboys fan, or in a group chat, who's a Cowboys fan, said, "Yo, chill. Surtain's supposed to be a Cowboy."
Yeah.
So what happened to the Packers with TJ Watt could happen to you guys with Surtain. So that is something to pay attention to, because if they see Surtain is going to be a huge pickup and they can get him at 8, if they do, that's going to shake things up for the Cowboys, because then it's like, crap, everybody thinks the Cowboys are going to take him, but now what if they can't? It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, no, it really is.
It's going to be interesting. That's why I love it. That's why I love the draft, because of there's just so much. There's planning. Everybody's like, oh yeah, no, they're definitely going this guy. There's definitely going this guy. But then when they draft somebody completely different, and everyone's like, it blows their minds. At the time, the Washington Redskins chose Dwayne Haskins. When Washington took Dwayne Haskins, and everybody thought that the Giants were going to choose Dwayne Haskins. It was the Giants that took Daniel Jones first. Everyone had them going Dwayne.
Daniel Manning, thank you very much.
But everybody had the Giants taking Dwayne Haskins, and then they took Daniel Jones, and everyone was like, "Excuse me, what?" Nobody saw that coming. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can plan for days and days and days to, oh yeah, this is who my team's taking, and then they don't take it, and then you're left.
I know,
thinking,
but
what are you people doing?
In 90% of the drafts that I've seen, it always has the Cowboys taking Patrick Surtain.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying that was the exact same
so
thing
number
that happened with TJ.
Number 8, this one, it said the Carolina Panthers were previously going to choose Mac Jones, but now that it sees them taking J.C. Horn, cornerback out of South Carolina. No, see, if Carolina takes either J.C. Horn or Patrick Surtain, I'm okay with taking J.C. Horn. J.C. Horn keeps saying that he would love to play for the Cowboys, and I mean, like, I don't know how serious you can really take anybody say, "Oh, I'd love to play for that team." Excuse me, I'm pretty sure you'd love to play for any NFL team. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, everybody's gonna have their preference in team, you know. Whatever team you grew up watching, stuff like that, you're gonna want to play for that team.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's where the cards are dealt. You know,
it really is.
What if a team calls you at the draft and go, "Hey, you know, we're gonna pick you in the draft." How often do you think that a player sits in the green room and goes, I don't want to play for you?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen often, because the person on the phone, they're calling you to draft you, and you're like, "Oh shit, yeah, I want to play for an NFL football team." Bam, make your legacy. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter what team it is. Make a legacy out of that.
Oh, exactly. Like, you can't not.
Like, if I was to join a football team now, granted, I would definitely want to play for the Packers. But you know, if any team called me and said, "Hey, we want you to play for this team," I'd be like, you know what?
The Bears call you.
Absolutely.
The Bears call you.
I would do it.
Exactly.
You know, it's because
play to get money.
There are so many people in the country every year, so many college players, high school players that dream of being in the pros, but only like, not even like 100th of the percentile of those people will make it. And it's insane to think about that. The draft is what, 256 picks or something like that?
256, 257, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So that's how many players get drafted.
Well, it also depends.
You could be an unsigned free agent. Yeah, you could. I mean, the compensation. You could be signed after the fact and just go undrafted. But the guaranteed people who get to be signed to a team in the draft, like, that doesn't happen for everybody. That's a very, so honestly, it could happen to any. You can go in any round. They did it with DK Metcalf a couple years ago.
Oh,
he dropped to the second round, and watching him get signed by the Seahawks. Now, I'm not a Seahawks fan at all, but that was honestly so hard. That was a steal, but that was extremely heartwarming because he thought he was going in first round. He thought he was guaranteed first round, and he dropped. And he actually asked Pete Carroll on the phone. He said, "Why did it take y'all so long? Like, why did you wait so long to get me?"
Well, and that's another thing.
You can see,
Speaking of the Seahawks, they actually just locked up Tyler Lockett for 4 more years, $69.2 million extension.
Good. Don't let that man go. Tyler Lockett is an unbelievable
I hate playing
talent.
against Tyler Lockett. I hate playing against him. He's so good.
Except for I don't know how many yards he had against us in the divisional round, not this past year, the previous year, when we beat them to go to lose to the 49ers. But like, I'm pretty sure he had a solid game because Tyler Lockett's one of those guys that'll just, you'll be like, oh yeah, he ain't gonna do nothing, and then bam, 80-yard touchdown. You're like, son of a bitch.
Oh no, exactly. Like, it's just insane.
Tyler Lockett is that I was actually just thinking about him the other day. I was like, listen, when you messaged me and said the Seahawks want Antonio Brown or Russell Wilson wants Antonio Brown, I'm like, they don't freaking need Antonio Brown. They
don't need him. They don't. Well, yeah, that's true. But Antonio Brown wouldn't be the number 1. He'd be the number 3 wide receiver on that team. And you saw what Antonio Brown did for this Tampa Bay. Like, it gave Mike Evans room, Chris Godwin room to work.
It changed things for
them. Even Gronkowski.
Oh yeah, because Gronk didn't start the season at the level that we thought he was going to, but he started picking up traction throughout the season. So honestly, Antonio Brown would be a good pickup for most teams, but he already signed a deal with the Bucs. I'm pretty sure he's got the 1 year.
No, he didn't.
So it's like, he didn't. I thought he signed a 1 year.
No, he hasn't signed anything. He's free right now. He's a free agent.
Oh boy. Oh yeah. No, I'm thinking of, because they brought back the 22 starters. That's okay. So he's definitely one of the big free agents left. Just the same thing with got Richard Sherman, KJ Wright. I know you're losing it about that.
I'm really surprised right now that KJ Wright has not been picked up by the Cowboys. Like, they're like, oh yeah, in the next few days, and that was like last Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'm just like, all right, where is he? Like, come on.
Yeah, it's just, when things are taking longer. I mean, it's the same thing with us too, with the Packers. It's like, all right, who are they going to re-sign now? Because I don't expect us to. We don't have the cap space to go after anybody big right now. So it's just like, all right, who are we going to re-sign to a 1 year, $600,000 contract? It's boring now, So it's like with you, it's like, what are we gonna do? Can we get this guy today? Can we get him tomorrow? Can we get him before the season starts? The waiting game, and I hate the waiting game.
Yeah. So let's get into some free agency signings. There was not like anything going on this week. This is kind of really a low-key week. A lot of teams are either trading draft picks for players at this point. They're really not, everybody who's really been signed. There's a few top that we just discussed, Richard Sherman, KJ Wright, Antonio Brown. There's a few big names still out there, but at the same time, pretty much it's coming. Free agency's slowing down until the draft, at least. So this past week, this is in no particular order. The Falcons signed Stephen Moons and Jonathan Bullard. Eagles' Boston Scott signed an ERFA. The Dolphins signed John Jenkins. Colts signed Sean Davis. The Bucs picked up Vita Vea's fifth-year option. Oh, speaking of fifth-year options, the Panthers are picking up Sam Darnold's fifth year.
Oh, okay.
Colts signed Chris Reed. The Colts re-signed Al Qaidin Muhammad. Giants. The Giants. Okay, so this story is dumbfounds me. Is the Giants came out and said that they are in no rush to extend Saquon Barkley.
I mean, all right. My entire family's Giants fans. Saquon is when Saquon is healthy, he's an absolute freak.
Yeah, well, he's only been, this is the only time he's been injured in the NFL.
Yeah, he really hasn't been injured much. But it's like the last couple of years, they haven't had an offensive line. See, this is the thing that annoys me. The team doesn't have an offensive line. We see that because Daniel Jones is looking around like, I don't know what to do. And then he holds the ball and takes a sack. And it's just because he doesn't have time.
Yeah.
And Saquon hasn't been able to perform at his level because they don't have any people blocking. So it's extremely infuriating to watch what the Giants do when they do that. But at the same time, they don't get the production that they're getting. And they don't want to re-sign him because they're not getting that production. But I also feel like that's straight on them for not getting the people that you need to protect the players so that they can do their job. Because he has so much like to give. You know, look at what Dalvin Cook's been able to do in Minnesota. They have a good offensive line.
Yeah.
Because the dude just is like, hey, I'm going to just run for 4 touchdowns.
And that offensive line makes Kirk Cousins actually look good, even though he's not.
Kirk Cousins is one of those guys. I like Kirk Cousins, but I don't like playing against him because I know what he's capable of doing. Because you saw it when he was with Washington. You did.
Yeah.
Every now and then he'd have a game and you're like, bro, though you like that game? Like, come on now. Like, it's iconic.
Yeah.
But, you know, the Giants and Saquon, you lock him up. I don't care what you do. That's a star player.
I think you have to.
You have to. They're just taking their time.
Yeah. The Bills sign Terrell Adams. Steelers sign Matthew Sexton. The Bengals re-sign Amani Bledsoe. The Bengals re-sign Mike Daniels. The Cardinals signed Colt McCoy. We talked about the Panthers letting Teddy Bridgewater seek a trade. The Lions signed Quentin Dunbar. Texans re-signed Roderick Johnson. The Packers re-signed Will Redmond. Jags signed Damian Wilson. Bills signed Jamil Douglas. The Chiefs signed Michael Burton. Ravens re-signed LJ Fort. Washington signed DeAndre Carter. And the Lions signed Corn Elder.
So, yeah, like pretty much a lot of
that's really
small deal wrapping up. Yeah, holding up a couple of position players for some.
The two biggest things in free agency this week was the Sam Darnold trade and the Tyler Lockett extension.
Yeah, honestly. And 3 for me. John Jenkins going to Miami.
Yeah.
John Jenkins from my hometown. So it's nice to see him. My best friend, you know him, Steve. He's a diehard Dolphins fan. Literally graduated with John Jenkins.
That's cool.
So yeah, he graduated same year. He was pretty good, decent friends with him in school. So it's really cool to see him go to the Dolphins. Then he left, he went to the Bears. But now he's coming back. And I thought when I saw that, I was scrolling Instagram and I had seen his feed and he was like, oh, Dolphins. And I was like, oh, John Jenkins is back in the number 95. Let's go. I was pumped for that, you know? So that was big for me. I was just like, let's go, man. I love seeing hometown heroes doing some stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Next up, we are going to discuss we're going to actually rank the quarterbacks for this upcoming draft, or attempt to.
Attempt to is probably more like it. It's difficult.
So not all the top quarterbacks has actually, I believe, even had their pro days yet. There's a few that have not, like Trey Lance and Zach Wilson, I believe, have not.
I haven't seen any highlights of them on Instagram. So
Mac Jones, he had his. Trevor Lawrence had his, and then there's the top, I believe 6 quarterbacks right now. And there's no particular order. Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, and Kyle Trask are the top 6 quarterbacks. Now the other, so I went and grabbed like the top 12 on some random site. But they have Kellen Mond, Davis Mills, Jamie Newman, Felipe Franks, Peyton Ramsey, and Sam Ehlinger. Of those names, I know Sam Ehlinger because I'm a Longhorn fan.
I know 0 of those names. I know probably the top 5 that you said.
So we pretty much know where these quarterbacks are going to be going according to, mock drafts and them talking with teams. Trevor Lawrence, Jags.
I swear, man, if the Jags somehow manage to screw it up and be like, we're going to take Justin Fields, I will be shocked.
Yeah.
That'll be one of the biggest things that happens in a draft in recent years.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because that is the number 1 pick. Everybody's like, nah, dude, he's going first. He's going first. He's going first. And if he doesn't go first, everybody's going to hate the Jaguars that are Jaguars fans. It's just like, dude. But yeah, he's going first. He's got to go number 1.
Yeah. So Trevor Lawrence going Jags. Zach Wilson to the Jets. Mac Jones to the Niners. Then you have what is
the possible Falcons?
The Falcons most likely taking Justin Fields unless they trade back, which I can see them trading back. And I think that if they were to trade back, I think Patriots might trade up and try and take Justin Fields. It'd be very shocking, as this is not a typical Patriots thing to do. They normally don't trade up in the draft.
No, they're very conservative. They pretty much stay where they have.
Well, I think they are very conservative because I think they're not going to be conservative anymore because they were conservative when they had Tom Brady. And it's like, we have Tom Brady. Why do we need to trade up? Like, what we're doing is working. But last year, it did not work. Like, it did not work. So I think that they're going to change things up. And you saw that they changed it up with free agency. And they were just signing everybody the first week.
That day where I was just like, get a notification. Oh, Patriots signed this guy. And then like an hour later, Patriots signed this guy. And I'm like, dude, what are you people doing? They're just like Oprah. You get a contract and you get a contract. They were just signing everyone.
Yeah.
So I feel like Bill pulled Robert Kraft aside and said, hey, guy, let's just go ape shit and sign everybody that we can.
I believe the first 4 picks will be quarterbacks.
Most people in mock drafts, most people on the internet right now have all these teams going quarterbacks for the top 4.
Then they have Trevor Lawrence, Jags, Zach Wilson, Jets, Mac Jones to the Niners, Justin Fields, I can see going 4th. Trey Lance to the Broncos, and Kyle Trask has now been a heavy favorite to be drafted by the Saints.
That's interesting.
And he's a Florida Gator. So Kyle Trask has been, heavily looked at by the Saints. So of those 6, right? So here's where I would rank them. In my opinion, right? Trevor Lawrence, right? I don't know if there has been so much hype, just so much hype that I feel like he could easily just be a bust.
But to be honest, a lot of the quarterbacks I feel
out of
they
these,
have it out of these the two, and it's weird that I would say it because I'm a Bama fan. I feel like
mm-hmm,
Trevor Lawrence is definite one that he looked fantastic watching him in college, but
yeah.
it what if he doesn't translate well to the Jags? What if he doesn't fit their scheme and he doesn't do that? What they want? But Mac Jones is another one. Typically, Alabama quarterbacks don't necessarily translate well at first at all to the NFL. I mean, Tua had an on and off year.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, former Alabama quarterback, that he went to Oklahoma. He's got a very, kind of up in the air.
So let me break this down a little bit. So my number one, I would say, is Mac Jones. I would rank Mac Jones over Trevor Lawrence. I'd go Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence. The only reason I'm going Trevor Lawrence second is I I'm not really buying the hype. I'm really not. I mean,
I feel like those two are
maybe
just
he is a generational talent.
completely.
Maybe he is a
Yeah,
generational talent.
I
Maybe he
feel like they're
does come in and just
completely
absolutely wreck the
interchangeable.
entire. Maybe he just wrecks the entire NFL. But at the same time, he's going to the Jags, whereas they have nobody. They have no. Who do they have? They have no
They
wide
got
receivers. They have
Chark.
no running backs.
Other than Chark,
They have Chark.
DJ Chark was really good.
And Chark, in my
Who else
opinion,
did they
is
have?
a
I
wide
know they had
receiver
somebody
number
else that was doing
two.
pretty good last year.
He's not a true wide receiver number one. He's not he's not a go-to guy every single time. He was a go-to guy for Gardner Minshew because that's all Gardner Minshew has. But I go Mac Jones. I go Trevor Lawrence just because of the hype and because he has won a national title. I mean, then I would go Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Kyle Trask, and then Sam Ellinger. Now, I'm sure a lot of people
You had
might
to put
disagree
Sam
with
in
me.
there, didn't you?
Well, here's my reasoning, right? A lot of people might disagree with me about Sam Ellinger, but Sam Ellinger has won 3 bowls. 3. He won in his 4 years. In 4 years, he the Texas program has not won a bowl, and I don't know how long. I will look it up as I'm talking. And it was absolutely huge for them to win. They won the Sugar Bowl back in 2018. Then they won the Alamo Bowl the consecutive 2 years. And in the Sugar Bowl, the Longhorns beat Georgia Bulldogs, who the quarterback at the time was from Justin from
Jake Fromm.
Jake Fromm.
Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm, State Farm.
And the Longhorns were expected to lose by I want to say the over under was 7 or 14. And they came out and they crushed Georgia. They ended up beating Georgia by 14.
That's a big one. Honestly, with going into the Lawrence Mac Jones, I really feel like they're interchangeable. Either or. I like both of them. I feel like I would probably put, and as a Bama fan, I feel like I'd put Mac Jones third. And then it's really up in the air for me. I like Trevor Lawrence. I like what I saw the kid do.
Mm-hmm.
But I would almost put him up there. I'd put Justin Fields up there. Justin Fields pro day, some of the tape that they had on that kid, just the passes, the motion that he gives, he can run around, he can throw on the run. He's got a lot of real raw talent. I feel like he'd have to be number 2 for me behind Lawrence, only because I didn't see a lot of him in college. I didn't see a lot of his actual game. I didn't watch much of his games. Lawrence, I saw a decent amount because he was, look at the team he was on. And obviously, I saw Mac Jones play here and there as well. But honestly, I don't know. I'd probably put Lawrence, then Fields, then Jones, uh, then Trey Lance. I can't remember the other people's names now off the top of my head because I'm just blanking. Or Zach Wilson. No, I'd probably put Wilson and then Lance. I like what I see from Wilson. He looks like a fireball, man. He looks like he's one of those quarterbacks. He's a real just from watching some of his pro day thing, little things that he's done. I feel like Zach Wilson's got not pro day, but yeah, any highlights, whatever. He's fiery, and he's a quick player. I feel like likes to get the ball out quick. He's got quick throws. Something about him. Zach Wilson, I feel is going to be one of the better quarterbacks to come out of this draft. I feel like Zach Wilson is going to be the one that is. I feel like listed as an underdog.
Yeah.
Like you're going to think, oh yeah, he's going to go number 2, but what's he really going to do? But I feel like he'll be the one that has the best first 2-3 seasons out of all of them. Especially if he goes with the Jets.
So the Longhorns, right? So just from 2010, they won the let's see. So from 2012, they had not won. They won again in 2017. And then Sam Ellinger won the Sugar Bowl in 2019, won the Alamo Bowl in 2019. It's crazy. So the Sugar Bowl was played on January 1st, 2019, and then the Alamo Bowl was played December 31st, 2019.
Freaking won 2 bowls in under a year. That's hilarious.
And then he won the Alamo Bowl second time, December 29th, 2020. So, I mean, he's won 3 bowls.
So you know how people are going to be. Are those national championships? That's.
I understand.
That's what people are going to.
So he won the Sugar Bowl 28-21 against Georgia. He won the Alamo Bowl 38-10 against Utah, and then he won the second Alamo Bowl 55-23 against Colorado.
Yeah, that's like.
He also almost broke the Texas Longhorn rushing touchdown record for his 4 years being there.
And that's beating out running backs, so that's actually pretty good.
No, quarterback.
So for quarterback? Okay.
Yeah. I think Colt McCoy might still have that record.
Colt McCoy, that's a name you don't hear often, but I like Colt McCoy.
Well, he actually just got signed by the Cardinals. We talked about him today.
Yeah, you said before he got signed by the Cardinals, and I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, wow. I like him. But honestly, I feel like I'd probably put him up there as well then. I'd probably put him at my number 6 then.
I put him at number 7.
I put him at number 6 just because I don't know half the other quarterbacks.
Well, so Kyle Trask.
I'm not fully familiar with him. That's probably why I'd put him above Kyle Trask.
Kyle Trask. He's Florida Gator. So let's check him out real quick.
Kyle Trask. Florida Gators have had a lot of big name players come out of there in recent years.
In the 2020 season, he had 4,283 yards thrown, 43 touchdowns. He was ranked number 1 in the country for touchdowns, and he only had 8 interceptions. So 43 and 8.
That sounds like Aaron Rodgers numbers.
Those do sound like Aaron Rodgers numbers.
That's kind of gross now that I think about that.
Let's see. 2019, he did 2,900 yards, 25 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. 2018, I forget who he was behind, but he had 162 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Let me see if he actually. But I mean, just the last year, his last year, he did phenomenal.
Yeah, no, those numbers. Yeah, you put up
So
numbers like that, you're gonna get talked about.
They lost in the Cotton Bowl to Oklahoma, 55-20. And they lost in the SEC championship game to Alabama, 52-46.
Yeah, that's why, and that's right there why Mac Jones is what everybody wants him to be, because Alabama wins titles. So it's like, this is pretty quarterback heavy for the first round. How many quarterbacks do you think
It's
are going
gonna
to go
be
in the first round?
interesting because Ohio quarterbacks don't do well in the NFL.
But it's a question: how many quarterbacks do you think are going in the first round of the 32 picks in the first round?
5. That's it. Kyle Trask is projected 3rd round.
Okay.
So I'm going to say 5.
I'll go 6, just because.
Will you?
There's a lot of unknowns. You never know who's gonna trade up to grab somebody.
That would mean that Kyle Trask gets drafted in the 1st round. I mean,
if he goes, he'll go later in the 1st round.
I think Kyle. I think you're wrong. I think Kyle Trask might get taken in the 2nd round, but
he probably will.
Late 2nd round by the if the Saints are going to take him.
Honestly, depends on. I think it honestly depends on all where the chips lie, where everything falls.
Mm-hmm.
What if a team has their eye on a specific player, and that player gets picked up 2 spots before them? Then they're like, oh crap, we got to rethink our draft strategy. Now maybe we should just draft this guy now, because that can happen. You never know. That's why I like seeing during the draft. Sometimes you get a little chime, and it's like, oh, trade, and then you see maybe this guy traded back because they don't want to get the next guy that's available, or they want to see where this guy falls. And it's all a giant game of chess. So I feel like it's going to be 5 or 6. I feel
Mac Jones last year had exactly 4,500 throwing yards, 41 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions.
Yeah, it's like the numbers that they put up in college are insane. And granted,
it's like playing Madden.
Yeah, granted, you think the college rules are completely different for specific things. To be a completed catch, you just have to have possession with 1 foot hitting the ground inbounds. So, if it was NFL rules, he'd probably have, let's just say, like 8 less touchdowns, maybe 5 or 6 more interceptions, and a few hundred less yards. So, I mean, it's still impressive numbers. Regardless, but honestly, it's gonna be really fun to watch who takes who where, to see what upsets, and like with the picks, who goes in a spot that nobody expected, who trades up to grab this one player that everybody thought this other team was gonna have, and that's something that I can't wait to see.
So this brings us to our last question of the night. If your team did not have the quarterback they have now, they need a quarterback, and they're in their current draft spot, who would you want to see them take, and what would it take to get them?
All right. So the Packers have 29th. If Aaron Rodgers were to call it quits and we needed a quarterback, I would probably want them to take Justin Fields. And to get that would be having to trade first rounders, obviously, and probably a first rounder for next season with one or two later round picks later on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you're trading, that's a huge jump. That's 29th to, let's just say they traded up to 4th. And took him from the Falcons. That's given the Falcons 3 draft picks, a later draft pick in the first round, which they want. They obviously want to trade back. Who knows to 29th? I don't think so. So I feel like it would work out for both teams. The Packers would end up getting Justin Fields. I mean, I'd probably say that would be what I would do had I been in the driver's seat for that.
Mm-hmm.
Trade the first round picks, first rounder next year, and then maybe like a 5th and 6th round next year or the year after as well.
Okay. So if it were me, I don't think the Cowboys would need to move up at all.
What spot do you guys have?
We have number 10.
Okay, so you really don't need to move up too much.
So with the number 10 spot, I would be okay with taking either Trey Lance or Justin Fields.
I feel like Trey Lance fits you guys better.
I feel like he does too. I feel like he does really well fit with us. He moves great. He's extremely athletic. I feel like he would be a great fit for the Cowboys.
And so you guys don't have to give up much to get him.
We wouldn't have to give up anything.
Because he's probably going to land right there.
Yeah. But
that's actually really, see me, I have to like having such a late pick, like 29th, like what would you do to get that quarterback that's like definite top 10?
You'd have to give up
a
first and second round pick.
Easy. That's why I said, you know what? To move up to the 4th spot, because that's a high up pick. To move 4th, you got to go first rounder next year, maybe like a 4th rounder next year, like a 6th rounder the following year, something like that, along the lines of, giving them a couple extra picks in the next couple of drafts. Nothing too fancy, but that's still
the number. So here's something that I've always liked to look at is the NFL draft trade value chart.
I don't think I've ever actually looked at that.
It's pretty cool. So number 1 pick overall is worth 3,000 points.
Oh, so they break it down into like a point value.
Oh, yes. So the number 1 pick overall is worth 3,000 points. Number 2, 2,600. Third, 2,200. Or 2,600, then 2,200. The 29th pick overall, 640 points. So not only would you have to give up, it's insane.
You have to give up at least 3, definitely a first rounder.
Yes.
A guaranteed first rounder. Plus, you're essentially switching those. So you're essentially gaining what? 30, 20, like 2,500 points essentially swapping.
No, you're not gaining at all. There was
no, but I'm saying,
but yeah,
when you're giving them that, you have to essentially make up like another 2,500 points in that scenario. So you give them a first rounder and then a couple of later ones.
If I'm the Packers, right, and you want Justin Fields?
I'd say Justin Fields at 4. We'll just say 4.
I would say so. Number 4, so that's 1,800 points. Number 4th pick overall. So if you trade spots, that would mean you owe 1260.
All right.
1260. So then you have the 61st pick overall. That's 292 points.
So yeah, you could either do that, a first rounder I would probably go first rounder for the following year.
Yeah,
because that would have the most value.
Yep.
And then two later rounds, like maybe a third and fourth for the following 2 years.
So then you'd have 100 so the fourth round at the number 29th pick is 47 points, and then the fifth round is 28 points.
So it's difficult.
It is very difficult. And that's why people add players into the trades and everything like that. Like
Kevin King,
very difficult. Yeah,
take Kevin King. Falcons, take him, and then we'll give you two nice picks, and then give us that. That's what I would do. I would honestly, it would get to the point where I would pick a player that personally I don't really want on the team anymore, like Kevin King. But you know what I'm saying? It's I don't. It's also why I don't own any football teams or run any football teams.
Yeah. So let me see if I can find the 2021 NFL. So they have the 2021. They don't have the 2021. If that makes any sense.
They're probably not going to have it yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. They probably don't have it up yet because of the all the pro days haven't been done. They'll probably have it up within a week before the draft.
Yeah. But I love looking at this thing because it's like, oh my gosh, like, you see the points and how much
you see the value.
Like they just drop.
I feel like that has a lot to do with, because it's a 2020. I feel like it's going to have so much to do with the actual prospects who are on that list.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like every single player is going to have a specific point value based on the grading that they get, their pro day, all of their, their bench press, their vertical. Everyone's going to get a grade on that, and that's going to contribute to how many points each one. Like they're going to probably average it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this year could be slightly different in the point totals, but it depends on how deep the draft is, how good it, like some, every now and then you get one of those drafts. It's like, dude, this draft is chock full of players. Mm-hmm. So many good people in the draft. So it's like, it'll probably end up changing, but when is the draft again? What day is that? I keep forgetting.
The draft is on April. I want to say it's usually 2 weeks after the WNBA draft. So I want to say it's April 29th.
Oh, so it's the end of the month. Okay.
So because the WNBA is on the 15th.
So yeah, so
it's either the week after. April 29th. Ends on Saturday, May 1st. So obviously, when that day after that week, we'll be grading the draft. Winners.
I'm looking forward to that.
So am I. It'll definitely be a good time because
we can give everybody an actual letter grade.
I actually watched the entirety of the draft. People are like, "Oh, how can you even do that?" I love.
I do
football.
Even if I'm not really watching it, I'll have the
NFL
background app open and I'll see the draft picks as they happen. Or if it's on TV, I'll have it on and I'll be doing whatever, and I'll be looking up at the TV every now and then, oh, who'd that guy draft? Okay, I always have to watch the first round, but for the subsequent couple of days, I will have it on the TV just as essentially background noise, and I'll look up every now and then and see who this person drafted, who the Packers drafted. It's something that I'm actually excited for. The first round is super exciting. I can't wait for that. That I'll be making the popcorn, man. I will be making the popcorn.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be
drinking some beers, watching the draft on the TV, and just enjoying. Hey, and you know what? If we're both free that night,
so
it would be
here's
cool
something
to go
that's
live.
really interesting. Here's something that's really interesting. So the Jaguars have the number 1 overall pick, number 25, 33, 45, and 65.
I think them and the Dolphins, and then there was another team have the most. I think it's them and the Dolphins have 6 picks in the top 2 rounds.
So Dolphins have number 6, 18, 36, 50, and 81. So they both have 5 of the first 3 rounds.
That's insane. That's good. But you know what? That's where like the draft grading is going to come in handy, because we're going to be able to see, like, did they get all the positions that they really needed help in? What players they got in those positions, how they're going to help the team. So I'm looking forward to it. It'd be really cool if I know it goes really late sometimes, that first round. You know, if we both didn't have to worry about time, it'd be really cool to at least go live for the first round of the draft. But at the same time,
we can probably go live for the first half of it at least.
Yeah, because honestly, it ends at like 12 o'clock in the morning, and I know you'll probably be out. I will be available, but there's no way I'll be able to freaking stream that.
Oh yeah, it'll definitely be a struggle. I might be able to do it. We'll see. You know,
play it day by day.
It's what we do for views.
What I do for those people.
Yeah, I mean, we can have a little draft party and stuff like that, and
I'd be down to
go from there. But yeah, the Green Bay Packers, they only have 3 in the first 3, which is normal. Cowboys have 4 in the first 3.
I'm just not looking forward to having to wait. That whole first round is going to be a nightmare, having to wait and wait and wait and wait. And that first friggin' pick better be somebody sweet, because I swear to God, if I got to wait until like 12:30 in the morning for them to pick somebody that just doesn't matter, I'm going to be so upset that I waited for it.
Jordan Love.
Hey, shut your mouth. Listen, I get the whole Jordan Love thing. A lot of people gave me shit for it the next day at work. Oh, Jordan Love, you guys got a quarterback. And I'm like, listen, build for the future. Just because we need stuff now doesn't mean you can't get stuff for the future. They did the same thing to Brett Favre. They drafted Aaron Rodgers. He sat on the bench watching Brett Favre play for 3-4 years, and then is a machine.
I want you to take a look at this. The Seattle Seahawks have 3 picks in this draft.
Wait a minute. 3 picks total?
They have the 56, 129, and 250 picks. If you remember correctly, they traded the Jets their first overall pick and 3rd round pick for Jamal Adams.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Dude, the Seahawks might be having a Lions draft this year where it just doesn't matter.
Let's see where did their other picks go? I'm just quickly looking before we wrap up. They traded their 208th pick, which was a 6th round pick, to the Dolphins, which the Dolphins then traded it to the Bears. They traded their 7th round pick to the Lions, and the Lions traded that to the Bengals.
I was going to say, tell me they traded it to the Bears. I was going to get so upset. But that sounds like something the Lions would do, trade all their picks away.
They traded their 5th round pick to the Raiders. So I'm really surprised that they did not take that Russell Wilson trade from the Bears, especially only having 3 picks.
Yeah, it kind of puts that into perspective, though. But at the same time, that's the value they see in Russell Wilson.
Yeah. But yeah, they traded.
Shows you right there.
So they traded, 5 picks? So they would have had 8 picks total, and they traded 5 of them this year.
Yeah, they honestly, they see that Russell Wilson is more valuable than having those picks.
No other team has less than 5.
It's so messed up. That's so messed up.
What is that?
They have 3.
Correct? 6 right now is the lowest.
So put it this way, the grade for the Seahawks is going to be the last grade that we give.
Well, no, I mean, so here's how you have to think about it, right? You have to grade them, but you also grade them with the player that they traded those picks for.
All right. Oh, I see that.
That's how you have to grade those situations, is like, was it worth it? Could they have gotten a different player? Like the Seahawks, had they kept the Jets, they would have had the 23rd pick overall, right? The 23rd pick overall, Could they have gotten a player? I'm gonna pull up the draft, the mock draft one more time, and then we'll close out the night.
Sounds good.
So they have right. So the 23rd pick overall, they could easily have taken. They could have taken Trevon Moehrig. They could have taken him. They could take Jason Owe. They could have taken Carlos Basham.
It's a bunch of people, pretty much. So that's that's actually
Tyson
very
Campbell,
interesting.
Gregory Rousseau.
That's a good freaking. Because I was just gonna grade him on who they took essentially, but
there's so
adding
many
trade value from trades that'll be interesting.
I mean, and not only that, but they also could have possibly traded up in the draft.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. It'll be exciting.
But what is it? That was the 23rd pick overall. They could easily have traded up into, if they traded their first and second round picks, they could easily have gotten in the top 15.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. This was a lengthy one, but hey, no technical difficulties. So this was a solid win.
Thankfully.
Win. We switched over to Zoom. So hopefully when I will be getting a new PC here within the next few months. So until then, we'll be using Zoom because that has seemed to work so far. Hopefully recording comes out fine. That's the only thing we gotta, fingers crossed. But I'm Chris, that's Zach, and thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thank
See
you.
you in the next one.
Catch you guys next week.
And we are